Roland SP-404 MK2 sampling and beat making tips. What's going on, guys? It's your brother O.T.G. The O.T.G's for overtime grind. Hardly seen, but I'm always around. And today I got the Roland SP-404 MK2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sample in a piano progression from my Live 2. The reason why I'm using the Live 2 in the Verse Lab is because I have all of the MPC plugins. I'm 100% standalone, and I want to sample in some instruments, and I want to do it on the SP. So what I'm going to do is go through these pad progressions. If you're looking for those and got an MPC, there's a link in the description. You can get it from the Masterclass. Same thing with the SP and all that stuff, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is record each one of those pads in. I'm playing it to the metronome. Now, I'm going to go in on the SP. I'm going to auto mark it, and I'm going to chop it down to 8 pads. So I'm going to let it auto mark the 8 pads, and then I'm going to assign it to 8 pads. And then I'm going to record some drums in, and we're going to make a beat. Why would I want to do this? You know, I know that the MPC is a sampler, and I know that on the MPC you could do the same thing. Well, on the MPC, if I wanted to resample, for the most part, I would have to bounce it down, save it, and then import it back in. And that's not really, you know, I'm not really in the mood for it sometimes. And I also believe that if you have the gear and you have the know-how and you know how to do some things faster, then do it that way. So the fast way to turn this piano into audio and then mangle it, do some stuff with it, turn it into a loop, and then if I want it, record it back into the MPC to sequence and utilize in there, then what I could do is record the audio one. That's what I did. So right now, what I'm going to do is go in and mess with the start points. And you can see I got 2 notes in there. So because I played it to the metronome part of what I was saying, now I have 2 notes to choose from all 8 pads. So I have essentially 16 piano chops that I could get. That is a full chord progression, and now I could utilize that in the SP and, you know, utilize the resample method, move around, do some stuff, you know, put an envelope on it if I wanted to. All of that stuff I'm not going to do in this video. You know, the goal of my videos aren't to sit here and show you how amazing I am at making beats. I'm pretty confident in my beat making ability. My goal with this channel is to show you how to utilize your gear in real time. And so I can make beats with my eyes closed. So what I do is just show you over and over and over and over again different methods of making beats, and when you'll utilize certain things, you need to utilize certain stuff. So when you're in your studio, you can have the same idea. Hey, I could use my SP. I could route it in this way. Oh, I seen a video where I've done that. So right now, I left pad 8 open on my Verse Lab. On my SP. What I'm doing now is changing the Verse Lab to the key of D. That's what the MPC pad progression is a D. So now my bass that I'm going to record on my empty pad 8 is going to be in the right key. So what I'm doing now is, you know, trying to find the right pad or the right note that fits with the key note and the progression. And so once I find that, I'll use chromatic mode to play out that the bass line and utilize it to create some variations. I like to try to get everything on the 16 pads because I like, in my mind, what I want to do is create whole beats out of 16 pads and then one bank. And then now one project can have at least 5 to 7 beats in it. And then those sounds can be turned and flipped and mangled and turned into all kinds of stuff. You understand? So this is my workflow of why I do that. You might have a different reason. So right now what you're hearing is my TR6S. Make sure you stay to the end and see the final video. I got a great tip at the end of this video and some other stuff that you'll see. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Right now I'm doing the TR808, going through the 808 kit. The reason why I want to get that from the TR6S and I don't want to just do it through MIDI is because sometimes you need to be decisive. I've noticed that a lot of these channels and a lot of ways guys talk about things is they want to leave everything in MIDI. You know, so that is, everything needs to be easy. You can do it here and it's easier. You can do it there and you can come back and edit the MIDI and do this with the MIDI. Like, bro, sometimes you need to decide things. You know what I mean? Decide you like the snare, put the snare down and make a beat with it. Decide you like the hi-hat, put the hi-hat down, make a beat with it. If you like that loop, mix it down, turn it into a WAV file. If you want to do it on your MPC, do it. If you want to do it on the Verse Lab, do it. If you want to chop it down, do it. And then free your memory up. Like, you guys do a lot of unnecessary stuff and then wonder why you have unnecessary problems or confuse yourself. The game of music is WAV files. WAV, FLAC, you know, it's mostly WAV, because once your music gets to the place that you want it to get to, they're going to stem it out to a WAV file and do work on that. So get used to just making a decision and putting it down. So what I just did now is I recorded all those in. I pressed shift and shift and gate. I turned the gate off, and then what I did was add all of those to a mute group. So my top 7 pads turn each other off when I press the next pad and I turn the gate off. So now we're setting a tempo or a pattern. I'm going to do it at 1 bar. I'm just going to do a 1 bar pattern, and then I'm going to loop it out. So it didn't go to TR rec. So what we're going to do is just put in our snare. That's the 808 snare, the ACB technology. So it sounds really good like the 808 machine. That's why I like that TR6S a whole lot. So now we are in TR rec, and we're just going to throw some hi-hats on. Always remember that your hi-hats, if you put a note on the TR rec, you got to do the pitch information from there. Now, you can change the audio from play mode. So once you get out of TR rec and you're back in your regular play mode, you could press pitch and speed and change the audio, the volume, but you're not going to be able to change the pitch. That's something that you got to program in from TR rec. So now I'm just going to throw some random hi-hats on and put them in random places to try to give it some movement. Press exit, we go back out. And so what I'm going to do now, go through, now we're going to do some volume, checking our volumes and getting our volumes right. Cool thing about the SP is you could just hit the pad and go to the next sound and turn the knob a little bit. The way I have my knob set up is in takeover mode. So it doesn't just always start at 0. It starts at, if it's at the halfway mark, if you turn it a little bit for the next pad, it'll match it. So using that helps you go through all of your pads and get it right. Now what I'm doing is taking my pattern and I'm going to duplicate that 1 bar pattern, turn it into 2, turn 2 into 4, turn 4 into 8 bars. now I have an 8-bar pattern. Let's record our sample in. Now that I got the sample, what I'm going to do is go in and work on the bass by pressing Shift Pad 4. Now we'll throw a bass line in on there. That's our bass line from the Verse Lab. So we got our speed, we got our kicks and snares and our drum kit from the TR6S. It's a mixture of the 808 and the 707 or the 606. And we have our piano from the MPC plugins piano, Fabric XL piano. We have that in there. And we have our bass that we're playing right now from the Verse Lab. So hopefully you learned some stuff in this. You got some understanding. You can see how this works. You can see how easy it is to really start to build a beat out and make this thing work. One of the big tips about utilizing, I want to say this before I forget, is when you're in chromatic mode, you want to enter chromatic mode with the record on, whether you're just in rehearsal mode or not, because if not, what you'll have to do is exit back out, turn on record mode, and then go back in. So just think about that and keep that in your mind. So now what we're going to do is we're going to copy and make a couple versions of this arrangement. You know, one of the big tips I could give you about copying your patterns over is to make sure that you keep your full arrangement on the first pad that you do stuff on. So when you get to a point that you're happy and you know this arrangement is the arrangement you're going to stick with, then what you should do, in my opinion, is go and copy it to another pad. Because if you go ahead and copy it to another pad, then you are doing the right things. You get what I'm saying? And you're protecting yourself from getting too far ahead of yourself and then not having the full arrangement the way you like. Because once I go through and I press remain, now once I select the sounds that I'm going to use, you know, I'm going to leave the kick or the bass off. Once I do that, when I get ready to copy pad 2 over or pattern 2, you'll realize that it don't have the bass. It's not in there anymore. The only way I can go and get that bass is I need to go back to pattern 1 and copy it from there. So like right here, we're going to copy just the kick drum and the piano. So once this turns around, like when I get ready to copy this pattern is only going to have the kick drum and the hi-hat. I mean the kick drum, no hi-hat, piano, no bass, right? So the only way to get that to work in a better way now is to, the only way to get that to work, if I wanted to go back and say have a part with just the bass and the piano playing, what I would have to do is go back to pattern 1, copy it and put it on a pad, and then go through and program it and erase some things. You know, one of the cool ways that's what makes this understanding copy, press and remain, choosing the sounds that you want to copy to another pattern. That's what makes that extremely dope and it's extremely useful. So, you know, I have all that stuff in the SP-404 cheat sheet, all of these button combinations. You can get that from the cheat sheet that's down in the description. It also also comes with the masterclass. So, you know, you can get the cheat sheet for $2, get the masterclass for $5, get the masterclass with a bunch of sounds for $15. All of it has lifetime updates. So anything you buy from this channel and support this channel helps keep this channel going. The difference between me and a lot of guys, I like the gear that I have. I don't really get gas, so I don't go out and gotta buy new gear. If I like something, I stick with it. So now we're in pattern mode. Once we hit pattern mode, we press hold. And what we're going to do now is go through and select the patterns and the way we want it to play. Each one of those boxes plays our pattern. So one of the important things to remember is the length of your pattern. So once you get in pattern mode, if you got patterns that are 16 bars or 24 bars and you have it played 3 times in a row, you're going to have a 6 to 8 minute beat now. So the fact, like, all of these are 8 bars, 8 bar loops, and they're at like 95 BPM or whatever I set the BPM to. So, you know, when it's all said and done and this gets to the last program part of the beat that it plays, it could definitely be a while. We're going to go ahead and let it play, and you can see, you know, it's probably about 3 or 4 minutes. But in this right now, if you press remain, this is how you can change the play mode of pattern changing. So right now it was on play one time and stop. What I did is put it on repeat all. And my very last pad or program part leads to it sounding like a loop, if that makes sense. So like right now, it just skipped over. I did that to show you. And it sounds like it could just loop over and keep playing. It's important to use your pattern chain. You know, you can utilize a way to bounce your patterns down straight to samples if you want. You can resample. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm resampling the patterns into one beat. I could record the effects, go in, do some effects, and do some other things, but I like to have a couple versions of the beat, you know. So the first thing that I do is do what we're doing right now, is I sit here, I let it play through, I listen to it, I see if I actually like the way that this sounds and how everything goes together, right? And then from there, I will start to practice and do different effects and different things on it, and we will record that to another pad. And so I've talked about that in a bunch of videos. You can find that stuff. But what that does is give you an easier workflow and helps you save versions of your beat so you don't mess your beats up. Hopefully that helps you out. So wrapping this up, that was the major tip, you know, is make different variations of your beat. Sample everything, man. Sample everything. Doesn't matter what is easier, or I have this and that's easier and they do the same thing. If you have a SP-404, sample everything inside of there and take it with you. Still make the beats and the other stuff, but then get better at making beats in your SP-404. It has a sound. It's extremely dope. It's got a lot of memory. It has a lot of dope options, and it's extremely valuable. So hopefully you found some tips. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Check out the masterclass down in the description. And it's your brother O.T.G. Follow me at 365 all social media.